Hey everyone, welcome back to my Halloween edition reviews number 2. Uh, it's the 22nd, so only 9 days left till Halloween. So I figured, why not kill two birds with one stone? Do two Killer Clown movies. And plus, it's the last of my Killer Clown collection, other than Mr. Jingles, but I'm gonna get that on DVD at some point, but I'm not in no rush to get it. Stephen King's it. Almost everybody between the ages of 13 all the way up until about, I'd say 50 have seen this movie, but how many people have read the book? Because of how long it is, I'm sure not that many people have read it. I was one that I was the one who got it down at actually my school library had it. And I read that book from page to page over the last 3 years of my school years. So I read it my sophomore year, my junior year, and then finally finished it my senior year. So which one's better? If you're going for gore, you won't see it in this movie. I say read the book, but here's the thing: you've got to be patient because there's some parts of the book that drag on, and there's this part. This is the part I hated the most about the book. There's pretty much child pornography in it, and I'm like, Stephen King, I love your books, man, but why do you have to put this in here? Because it says in good detail what Beverly is doing. Uh, and in case you don't know, let me list off the characters. Richie, Eddie. Sorry, my screensaver popped up again. Okay, a little bit of this. Okay, there. Now we're good. Okay. Stan, Beverly, Mike, John Ritter, aka in the movie Ben, and then finally Bill. Uh, these kids end up meeting each other pretty much in school. Well, how else are kids supposed to meet people? This is before the internet, so you gotta be kind of careful. Uh, actually, really careful. And yeah, the internet was coming out in the 90s, and it's not as nifty as it is now. This was before YouTube ever kicked off. But, anyways, the acting, it's a TV movie, so you're not gonna expect a whole lot of grade A acting, and I wasn't looking for that in this movie. This was really. Let's see, did I see that Killer Clowns from Outer Space first or this? I think it was this movie I saw first. Me, a little 3 year old, hate. I hated clowns from the beginning. Killer Clowns I'm okay with. Clowns and horrorcore music, you already know who I'm talking about. Uh, Insane Clown Posse, I like them. And the Body Festival, which is French hardcore horrorcore, or pretty much clown core. Excuse me, got a little something in my throat. Um, I might have to get some water after this. Uh, anyways, what can I say about this film that hasn't already been said? What makes it a classic in people's eyes? For many, it was the first Killer Clown movie they ever saw. And I actually like that cover right here. You can see that his inner monster is right in there. Uh, we do actually get to see what the monster looks like. But they went the cheap route. Even for a TV movie, this was pretty cheap to do. Make him a giant spider. Granted, he does transform into a spider, uh, or it turns into a spider, and uh, it's no big deal because the fucking thing has three forms: a clown, a spider, and mystery. I want people to read the book. And don't you be skipping through it being like, oh, I finished the book. If a person like me, I'm not the smartest tool in the shed, by the way. Say, instead of sharpest tool, smartest tool. Uh, anyways, I didn't read this book until I was in the 10th grade. And I've been wanting to read it ever since I saw the movie when I was 3. Uh, I didn't know this was based off of a book until I was about 5. So 2 years, and I'm like, well, I've got to read this book because when I was younger, I was reading stuff like Stephen King, Clive Barker. Clive Barker is a damn great writer, and he's a damn nice guy, from what I'm told in real life. So anybody who's a fan of Clive Barker or Stephen King, read Stephen King books uh, for the really great story and gore that he has going on. And if you want creepiness and just subtle types of horror, read Clive Barker. Barker, not Burger. Uh, I'm trying to think of what all the stories I've read from him. I read a little bit of The Hellbound Heart. I never finished it, sorry. So I can't really review The Hellbound Heart. Um, I've read. Hmm, oh, The Forbidden. That one was really cool. Many people know it as Candyman, but it was based off of The Forbidden, and mm, it was a good lengthy amount, but it's not a book really. It's a short story in a book. Again, by Clive Barker. That time I sounded like I said Burger. Clive Barker. Sorry, I'm gonna twist his name around and make it sound like something it's not. And should I review the Hellraiser series, the rest of the Hellraiser series, so close to the end of October, or should I just go into Halloween 1, Halloween 4, Halloween H2O, and Halloween mm, Resurrection? Yes, I do like Resurrection, but anyways, back on topic. Uh, his jokes are actually pretty funny. Like the clown made me laugh. Uh, this is a double-sided disc, so before people ask how do you watch part two, if you don't know this by now, it's a flip disc. Uh, each part is an hour and 30 minutes, which totals up to be 180 minutes. Did that bother me? As a kid, no, but over the years, I'm like, eh, well, I'd rather have it be 3 hours than be the length of the book because the book is this big honking piece of thing about this big and about this wide. Depending on which copy you get, you can get the hardcover or you can get the paperback cover. But anyways, let me get down to each of the characters. Richie, originally the child version of Richie, I mean, is played by Seth Green. So we get to see stars before they were actually stars. Um, Eddie is the kind of, he's pretty much kind of like a loner, always with his mom and everything. His mom is obsessive over him. I sure would hate to have a mom like that. I mean, I know you care, but could he ease back a little bit? I'm trying to make friends. Stanley is the Boy Scout. He's always joining school clubs and everything. But something happens to him, and everybody already knows he slices his wrists, but you don't see it. So it's the mystery. Did he slice his wrists, or did it make him slice his wrists? Beverly, the only girl out of the seven, the Losers Club, as they call them. Uh, Tim Reed, who played in many TV movies, he plays in this. Um, the character Mike, uh, he's kind of tough, but uh, he has to have backup at some points. And the way they meet Mike is pretty not really all that good because he's being chased down by a prick by the name of Henry Bowers. Uh, then we've got John Ritter's character Ben. Ben is pretty much the fat kid of the group. Over time, he slowly lost weight, and that's kind of cool. Gives gives people some incentive to lose weight. Um, and Bill, when he was younger, he used to stutter a lot. I stutter sometimes, but not enough to where I'm as stuttering Bill is. That was his nickname in the book, and I don't see why they didn't put it in the movie. Just simple things that you could have put into the movie. Uh, and by the way, they curse a lot in the book. Like, when I was reading it down at my friend's house, he was like, "Oh, what you reading?" And I'm like, "It." And he's like, "Well, I've never heard of that." And I was like, "Seriously, you're how old? 16? And you've never heard of it?" And so I had to go and tell him what the story's all about, why some people hate it, but most people love it. And it's really hard using the word it and the title it. I have to say Stephen King's it. And my dog opened up my door again. And my screensaver came on. Okay, enough interruptions. Pennywise. I consider him the eighth of the group. The reason being, they've known each other since they were all kids, so they know what Pennywise is all about. And he's played very, very well by the actor Tim Curry. He's played in both high-budget movies, low-budget movies, and TV movies. He played in that god-awful, what is it, like, badly done TV movie called The Addams Family Reunion. He played Gomez, I think. I haven't seen that movie. I saw the movie about 2 years back and I didn't like it. Now, I love the first two, but I hate the TV movie, Addams Family Reunion. And this film is just great. Yeah, it's slow, but it's trying to build the tension a little bit. There's a lot more deaths in the book. I keep on referring to the book because I'm trying to tell you you won't see much in the movie, but it's worth watching. Definitely during the time of the town fair coming through. Uh, I watch this like every couple of months, and that's a lot because I watch it at least twice each month. Well, every other month I'll watch it twice every other month. But is it worth checking out? It all depends. If you're scared of clowns, like you've got chlorophobia, however you say it, stay away from the film. If you love stuff that was original before it was famous. Like when this movie came out, there weren't really a whole lot of Killer Clown movies. I think there was. I'm trying to think of if it was made before or after Stephen King's It. Sorry, gotta clear my throat again. Um, this movie I'm talking about, either it came out before Stephen King's It or after Stephen King's It. Well, the story, of course, came out before. Uh, the movie is called The Clown at Midnight. Uh, it is a really cool movie, but if you're expecting the character to talk, no, he does not talk. He's not even a funny clown that jokes around. Like, he doesn't have a horn or anything. He doesn't have air air horns, nothing like that. He doesn't have any funny type of weapons. And I'm like, well, that's kind of pointless. I know 100 Tears would do it later on. But I don't know whether or not to like silent clowns because it gives them no depth. Like, yeah, it makes them creepier, but you're like, what in the hell do they sound like when they're talking? And I'm just like, I'm looking too deep into it. But Stephen King's It. What do I give it? What do I give Stephen King's It? Um, it's a childhood favorite of mine. Even though it does have its flaws, it being a little too long, but I much rather prefer 180 minutes over. Well, if it follows the book very closely, it doesn't follow it very closely. But if it did, and it was given the budget to go into theaters, and they were able to put all that stuff in, except for the child pornography scene, I don't need to see that. But I say, if you're not a fan of Killer Clowns, I give it. This will be my first time rating it from the other side of the fence. Sorry, scratching my nose. Uh, if you're on the side that hates clowns and never want to see this, I say about 3 out of 10. But my rating, I'm gonna give it for people who have seen it and love it. I give it a 10 out of 10 because yeah, it's got its flaws, but nothing too big. Because it's a TV movie, so don't expect much out of a TV movie. You're not gonna get gore, although you do get Pennywise having that really fucked up mouth with all of his razor sharp teeth and him going like ah ha 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 ha. And he does this one joke with Richie because he's the prankster. Uh, his nickname is Beep Beep Richie. Uh, that's what he does. He beeps people. Anyways, uh, he, the clown decides, well, it decides to make fun of Richie by going like this, uh, and saying beep beep Richie beep beep, and then he ends up showing his sharp teeth and everything, and then he says the classic line, and I'm sure everybody's heard it before. They all float down here. They all float down here. Sorry, I can't do my good voices. But this has some cool, fun catchphrases that Pennywise does. It's got, it's, I guess you can say romance to it, but because Ben is in love with Beverly, but she has an abusive husband, um, there's kind of like determination in it too, because they're determined to stop and kill this monster before it can kill anybody else again. And I should point out, this takes place in two different storylines. Them as little kids is part one, and them as full-grown adults getting to battle it. They're adults 30 years later, and they have no kids, and there's a reason why, but they don't say it in the movie, but there's a reason why none of them have kids. Uh, and they also call themselves the Lucky Seven, and like I said, they call themselves the Losers Club. And I might as well talk about Henry Bowers while I'm talking about this movie, because he's pretty much the antagonist outside of the clown. Uh, Pennywise is the main villain, but uh, there's Henry Bowers, Belch, sorry, and Victor. Now they don't say the name for Victor, and I don't even think the character's even casted in the credits. Like you see all these names, but you don't see who they play. Annette O'Toole, hopefully I'm pronouncing her name right, plays Beverly, adult Beverly. Um, Richard Thomas plays mm, either, like I said, they don't put the names of the characters with the names of the actors. I guess it would take too much time. Sorry, I might sound like an asshole by saying that, but uh, don't you find it weird to have a movie ending uh, with no credits of who the cast plays? Okay, anyways, Richard Thomas plays either Eddie. No, he doesn't play Eddie. Duh, I'm an idiot. He's on the Waltons, and I haven't watched that show in years. God, has it been 17 years already? I haven't watched it since I was 3. But Richard Thomas plays Bill, Stuttering Bill. Um, then we've got Tim Curry, of course, as Pennywise. John Ritter. Dennis Christopher, who plays, I think he plays uh, adult Richie. Um, Harry Anderson plays uh, Harry Anderson, I think, plays. Mm, trying to get his name. Stan. No, Stan is played by Richard Maceo. Uh, and Dennis Christopher plays Eddie. And Annette O'Toole, like I said, plays Beverly. Sorry, I don't want this to be my full video, because I don't want to be talking about the cast when I should be talking about the actual movie. The special effects, by the way, really damn cool for a TV movie, because you've got his claws coming out on the cover, so that was a pretty cool effect they did. Tim Curry with the claws coming out. The way the hand transforms into a tentacle monster was pretty cool. Yes, the spider monster, I do. It does have a special place in my heart when it comes to special effects. Even though it's a cheap effect, I still liked it. And before I forget, I don't want to forget anything throughout this review, because, like I said, it's a childhood favorite of mine. I saw it when I was 3, and I loved it. I really did. And I still do. And it brings back, I don't use this word often, kind of like Matt doesn't use this word often, but this this has some nostalgia to it, which is more than I can say for, let's say, Killer Tongue. Ugh, I hated that movie, but I'll review it. I will review it eventually, because Somewhere along the lines, out of all the places I shop, I'm bound to find it somewhere. And if it's more than $1, I'm not buying it. If somebody hands me the money, I'll buy it, but no more than $1 because over $1 is just way too expensive. You're pretty much getting ripped off. But see Stephen King's It for Halloween. See it for Valentine's Day. See it for your birthday. See it with your friends. And see it with your parents. Maybe they might say something about it. Hell, see it with your school. You could use it as a subject saying, uh, films of today against films of yesteryear. What do you think, man? Are you a classic? Yes, this is a classic. Uh, but my uncle didn't like it. He doesn't like TV movies. He likes low budget films, but yet he doesn't like TV movies. And there's a difference. Low budget films are all about cursing, having sex, pretty much every horror cliche there is. But I love them. I love low budget films. Not as much as I love this though, but low budget and TV movies. I like more low budget stuff than I do TV stuff because at least with low budgetry, you do at least get cursing and gore. This has no gore, but it mentions it. I should point out uh, each of their fears comes to play in this movie. Bill's fear is he killed his brother. Now, he didn't actually kill his brother, but he feels like, oh, it's his fault that his brother died. Um, Beverly's fear is her father, which he was pretty much a sicko in the book. Not as uh, he's a sicko in the movie too, but not as much of a sicko as he is in the book. Um, Richie's fear is werewolves. After seeing I Was a Teenage Werewolf, he's like, oh, I'm afraid of wolves. Um, Stan's fear, his his fear is of being wrong or right about something he doesn't want to be right about. Pretty much denial is the best way to put Stan. Um, Eddie is afraid of leprosy. In the book, he is, but in the movie, he's afraid of showers. Cool scene, but it's not in the book. A completely different fear for Eddie is put into play in the book. Um, Mike, his fear, uh, I guess you could call it fear of photos coming to life because he's got a photo book, but yet it doesn't say what his fear is, so it's not even hinted that he even has a fear. Uh, I guess racism could play a part in that because Henry Bowers uses the N word. They can use the N word on TV, but yet they can't use the word shit. I mean, by today's standards, you could say shit, but why have one of the most hateful words? Uh, yeah, it's in the book, but there's a lot of stuff in the book they could use other than that word. But they were trying to be similar to the book and not fully like the book. What do I like better? It all depends. When I want to watch a movie, I'll watch the movie. When I want to read the book, I'll just have it read to me on a book on tape because I am not reading that whole book again, but it's etched in my mind, all the info that's in the book. And there's an audio commentary on this too. Let's see. Feature-length audio commentary by Dennis Christopher, Tim Reed, John Ritter, Richard Thomas, and director Tommy Lee Wallace. Interactive menus. Scene access. Ooh, subtitles. I shouldn't make fun of subtitles, but come on, I'm trying to be funny here. But Tim Curry is funnier than me. Uh, but this film, it deserves more praise. Like it's got a lot of praise, but it deserves more. If you want to talk about TV films that have launched basically cult followings, this is one of those movies. And more people have seen the movie than read the book. I mean, there's a lot of people out there who have read the book fully. I'm one of them. 3 years of reading that book. And it's 1,000, if I remember correctly, 1,889 pages. And it's small print. The copy I read, it was paperback, but the writing was about this small. But I kept myself entertained. A book, other than Clive Barker, that actually entertained me. Clive Barker, Stephen King, you two should work together at some point. You probably have at some point, but I would like to see a movie, game, book, just something with you both working on it. So if Clive Barker, if you're out there listening to this, have you done any work with Stephen King? Because you, sir, and Stephen King, other name for him is Richard Bachman, Stephen King, you're a maestro when it comes to great storytelling. Clive Barker, you're a great storyteller with gore. Yeah, Stephen King handles gore in his movies and his books, but it isn't one of those movies with gore. But you two coming together would be like, let's see now, I don't want to offend religious people, but it's like if Kid Crusher and the Body Festival came together again for like a special event. And it would be a special event, Clive and Steven. If you guys could create a book centered around both fear like it and gore like Hellraiser. Yeah, it's kind of a combination between it and the Hellbound Heart. That would be kick-ass to see. Both see, play, read, just as long as it's not 1,889 pages. Ugh, so many paper, with so much words, and so much of the word fuck. It says fuck a lot, which I don't mind. Have you heard my mouth? But anyways, Stephen King and Clive Barker probably don't have YouTube profiles, but if you guys are listening out there, could you like hit me up sometime? Tell me if you thought Hellbound Heart or the movie Hellraiser and it. Did you think they were gonna be as classic movies as they are now, or did you just have it in mind to create some of the best stories I've ever read, heard? I even played Jericho, and that was a kick-ass game. Like, from what I played, really kick-ass for a first-person shooter. Horror and first-person shooter. The Suffering did that, and it did it well. Jericho did it, and they did it well. The Darkness did it, they did it well. Fatal Frame 2 did it well too. So, if anybody wants to play something from Clive Barker, play either Jericho or The Undying. The Undying is really kick-ass. I played a demo of it, and I've seen gameplay videos of the full game. It's like I have found the Holy Grail, and it's got Clive Barker and Stephen King's names all over it. So, anyways, I will conclude this like I always do. It's me, Psychopathic One. Hopefully you're all enjoying my reviews for Halloween, and take care. Peace.